There's a material inside of him that controls him. Was this racially motivated or was it a mental health crisis? This is the developing story of the North Carolina train attack. My name is Olan Hulion, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are discussing the heartbreaking and disturbing train attack on Iryna Zarutska. I can't say her last name, so I'm just gonna say Irene. She was a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, and she was killed a couple weeks ago on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're gonna go through her story, and then we're gonna go into the intense background of the suspect and his long rap sheet of a criminal history he has, along the side of the jail calls that his sister made with him and the interviews with his family. This is a good point to put a disclaimer. All of this is alleged until proven otherwise. Although there is video footage of him doing this crime and making this crime, he's innocent until proven guilty. Please form your own opinion. Do your own research. I found all this from public resources. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, if I missed something or left anything out, please let me know in the comments. It would be greatly appreciated. Now let's get into it. Iryna came to the United States from Kiev, Ukraine, after fleeing the war with her family. She was working hard to build a new life here in the United States. She came here for the American dream. She came here for safety. She came here to get away from the war. She was learning English. She was studying to become a veterinarian assistant. And she was saving up to buy her first car. She worked at Sept's Pizzeria in Charlotte, where coworkers say she was bright, kind, and incredibly dedicated. She was hardworking. She was living the American dream until her life was unfortunately cut short in the most brutal way imaginable. On the night of August 22nd, 2025, which isn't really that long ago, it's been about 3 weeks, Iryna boarded the blue Lenox Line light rail around 9:46 p.m. She sat near a man named Decarlos Brown Jr. Surveillance footage shows that they did not interact with each other at all before the attack. Just 4 minutes later, without warning, Brown stood up and stabbed Iryna 3 times, and one was a fatal blow to the neck. The entire attack was caught on surveillance footage, though the most graphic moments have been censored and withheld from the public, as they should be. He exited the train at the next stop and he was arrested shortly after. Here's the full footage.
This stop is Stanley Park Station. Please exit right.
As you can see, it's so sad, like the way she like looks up at him, like she was so scared. Okay, so here's a quick breakdown of the timeline. At 9:46 p.m., Iryna boards the train. At 9:50, Brown stabs her without being provoked. At 9:52, he exits the train and is arrested near the East-West Boulevard station. And later that night, she is pronounced dead. By September 5th, the edited surveillance video is released to the public showing Iryna walking into the train, Brown sitting behind her, and the chaos that followed. So Brown is now being faced with both state charges of first-degree murder and federal charges under mass transportation laws. The case has ignited calls for criminal justice reform, transit safety reform, and improvements in the mental health oversight. Who is Decarlos Brown Jr.? Decarlos Brown Jr. is a 34-year-old man. He has a long history of criminal arrests with 14 at least. That's what we know of. Convictions including robbery with a dangerous weapon and multiple assaults. He served 5 years of armed robbery and he was released around 2020. But even more troubling, Brown was diagnosed with schizophrenia and was suffering from severe delusions, thinking that people could even read his mind. According to family members, after his release, he began showing increasingly alarming behaviors, paranoia, delusions, believing the government was controlling him. He alleged claiming foreign materials, yes, I said materials, were implanted in his body, controlling his actions. He called 911 multiple times, saying as much. His sister Tracy and his mother Michelle both say they tried to get him help. His mom said that she sought to have him committed several times to a long-term facility, but she couldn't do so because she wasn't his legal guardian. And they told her, quote, unless he's trying to kill himself or someone else, we can't help. And now, someone's dead. She described his behavior as worsening, as in slamming doors, yelling, walking around talking to himself, refusing medicine. She also said that she threw him out of her home due to safety issues. Okay, but before we move on to the phone call and the family interviews, this is his rap sheet, okay? 2007 to 2009, he had multiple misdemeanors, simple assault, disorderly conduct, resisting a public officer. The outcome of that was those charges were dismissed. Court records show some were not prosecuted fully, or Brown failed to appear in court. 2011 to 2013, more misdemeanors including communicating threats, speeding, shoplifting, injury to property, failing to appear in court. The outcome of those were some charges were later dismissed, in particular the shoplifting case. Threats, injury to property, etc. Some were resolved by plea, others by default, failure to appear. In 2013 and 2014, felony charges, breaking, entering, larceny, later robbery with a dangerous weapon, and possession of a firearm by a felon. He was convicted, served time about 5+ years for the felony robbery and related charges. He was released around September of 2020 on parole. 2022 to 2024, several arrests, some for assault, damage to property, calls to 911 without a valid emergency. Okay, as you can see, like, he obviously didn't learn from the 5 years. He should have just been held on to in 2022, 2024 period. Like, he should have just, but whatever. The outcome of that is like many of these did not result in persistent charges or convictions, or records are unclear or missing. Some cases dismissed or no follow-up in court records. And then January of 2025, his mom said after this moment, he should have stayed in jail. In January 2025, he was arrested for misusing 911. Repeatedly, he was wandering near a hospital, claimed a man-made material was controlling his body, eating, walking, talking, etc. He believed something was physically controlling him. He made a 911 call saying that. Why the hell did they not put him in a mental institution? Put him in the hospital. The outcome of this was he was released on a written promise to appear, no secure bond, because it was a non-violent misdemeanor. He was not in a case at that moment that carried strong restrictions. So like, they were like, you promise you're gonna appear in court for this one? Write it down? Okay, you appear in court. And then August 22nd, 2025, he has been charged with first-degree murder after allegedly fatally stabbing Iryna Zarutska 3 times aboard a Charlotte light rail train. Also, a federal charge was filed for causing death on a mass transportation system, facing possible life sentence or even the death penalty. Before the August 22nd stabbing happened, there was a court order evaluation in July of 2025 to determine if he was competent to proceed with criminal case. Filed by his public defender, it's not clear whether that evaluation was completed before the August stabbing. So no one knows if this was actually done or not. But who knows? Now to some of the disturbing and revealing parts, the jail calls, family interviews, and Brown's own statements. Y'all, whenever I was watching some of this footage, I was like, what? What do you mean there's a material inside of you? I was like, oh my, that's scary. That is scary beyond belief. But in a jail call with his sister Tracy, it was recorded around August 28th, so about 6 days after the event took place. Brown says, I just know it's the material inside my body, though they have to get removed because it's making me a murderer. Quote. He adds, I don't even know the lady.
I never said not one word to the lady at all. That's scary, ain't it? So, like, why would somebody just stab somebody for no reason?
Boy, that's what we're asking you. Also, in the phone call that he made, he said,
before you, like, actually charge me with murder, make sure it was me that did it, not the material. And I'm telling you, the material did.
And then in that same conversation, he claims that the government implanted something, materials, in his body controlling him, that he was being manipulated. A recurring theme in his delusions, mom and sister said that this was a recurring thing. Editing Olan here, here's more of that phone call.
It's something in your body did what?
The material, put it like this, the material used my body to stab the lady.
And so she just got stabbed.
Yeah. You know that's not me. I'm talking about just for no reason. But since they did that, now they gotta investigate the material my body is exposed to. Since they want to do all that, now they gotta investigate.
Tracy, his sister, said after visiting him, when I went to visit him, he was mumbling and talking to himself. Tracy Brown also said in an interview, at the end of the day, I'm not making any excuses for what happened. She said, I am saying that if he had the proper care, this wouldn't have happened. Her mother says that she noticed he started saying weird things, that he wasn't in his body. She described how he had become more and more aggressive over time. His mother also emotionally said the system failed him. His half-brother Jeremiah also spoke. They could have prevented it then. He is referring to his release without proper oversight or continued mental health care. So one of the strongest statements that came from the family is that Decarlos should have not been out in the community at all. His mother, Michelle, said in interviews he should not have been freed. She meant from the January arrest. She also said he started saying weird things. He started saying he wasn't in his body. She also continued he had behaviors that were so aggressive, the system failed him.
It got really bad when he came in, and he was very aggressive when he came in the home. We're like, hey, what's wrong with you? He came in as if someone was after him.
The witch says that 4 years ago they got Brown involuntarily committed and he got better, but then he decided not to take his medicine anymore.
My husband and I advised him, if you stay with the medicine, we can help you. But if you don't stick with the medication, then there's no need for you being here. So he decided he didn't want to take the medicine. He wanted to go to the shelter. And that's what we dropped him off at.
Many others believe that the legal framework that allowed him to be released under conditions she and others felt were unsafe. So many point to bail, magistrate decisions, mental health petitioning, but legal guardianship and the capacity limitations were complicated what she could do as a mom. It seems like in a way she kind of feels like it's her fault, but she tried, obviously. Like, she tried multiple times. But this case has sparked major national discourse, and here's why. So, mental health system failure. Brown showed signs of serious mental illness. His family begged for help, but hospitals turned him away. Another discourse is justice system criticism. Brown had multiple priors, but was released without proper psychiatric evaluation. And then transit safety concerns. Why weren't there a security guard on the train? Why didn't anyone intervene? This is a big one. If you watch that video, everyone around her didn't do anything. They sat there. I don't know if they went to help her after he left or what, but like in that footage, like they're just kind of like sitting there, I guess, like in shock. But it's like, why did nobody help her? Editing Olan here. So if you see all these people, you see the girl in the red shirt, she kind of just sits there. And so the guy in the gray shirt, he's sitting there, and then everybody in the back just sits there, right? Okay, so whenever Decarlos walks away, the guy in the gray runs to tell the conductor of the train what happened. This lady stands up and she kind of just looks at Iryna fall to the floor. And then if you can tell in this video, if you zoom up on her hand, she starts shaking. But this woman literally completely walks away and leaves. About 45 seconds later, this guy walks by Decarlos and makes his way towards Iryna, and he's the one that tries to help her. He tries to apply pressure to her neck, and you can kind of see that he's trying to like reposition her. And then later on, it shows him taking off his shirt and trying to address her wound. About 50 seconds later, a woman tries to help, and then a guy in a Hawaiian shirt tries to help as well. But sadly, it appears the people that were around her that witnessed the incident did not help her at all. And then this one. And then media and race narratives, because Iryna was a Ukrainian refugee. Some believe she was underrepresented in the media. Others frame that suspect's background as emphasizing mental ill, homelessness, or repeat offender, and racial overtones enter coverage and political messaging. Ooh. Editing Olan here, this is the White House having the same response that a lot of the public has on the media's coverage on this case.
Majority of the media, many outlets in this room, decided that her murder was not worth reporting on originally because it does not fit a preferred narrative. Many of the journalists in this room spilled plenty of ink trying to smear Daniel Penny for defending a subway car from a deranged lunatic in New York City, but none of those same reporters lift a finger to write stories about an actual murderer.
Some people think this is racially motivated due to the fact in the clip he's minding his business, he isn't interacting with anyone around him. Then as soon as he sees her, he lifts up his head, looks at her, and then attacks her. Okay, editing Olan here. So she sits down and then he glances up at her. Okay, so he's mumbling to himself, and then he takes out his pocket knife, and then he attacks her. But minutes before she got on the train, it literally looks like he's talking to himself and mumbling and like fighting with himself. And it's also rumored that whenever he walked away, he said, "I got that white girl. I got that white girl." Which, whenever I first heard this, I was like, maybe something clicked in his head, and he was like, "Oh my god, I got that white girl. I got that white girl, like, what did I just do," type thing. But some people are saying it was like, "I got that white girl." So if I can find the footage of it, I will insert it. But when his sister asked why did he do it, he said this.
So I'm just trying to understand, out of all people, why her?
That's it ain't. I don't have nothing. They just lashed out on her. That's what happened. They lashed out on her. Whoever was working the material, whoever was working the material, they lashed out on her.
And then also with all this a political push, high-profile figures, including Republicans and some law enforcement, have used this case to push for law and order, for maximum penalties, even the death penalty. I came across this video of the president talking about this case, and this is a prime example of politicians using this as a crime and order push.
She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. People of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order.
And stricter judicial oversight, which, I mean, I kind of agree with the stricter judicial oversight, because why was he let go 14 times? Hello? This could have been hella prevented. And a lot of people are saying it's like, I don't know, this case is very touchy in the sense that if you say one thing, you could be labeled a thing. If you say another, you don't care about people's health. But like, honestly, in my own opinion, when you first see the video, I could see where people are like, oh, this is racially motivated. But knowing that he was diagnosed with schizophrenia changes like the whole story. And I don't think people are like care enough to know about that point. That when you're schizophrenic, or you have a multiple personality disorder, like there is things going on in your brain that none of us can understand. And that's a whole nother thing. And his mom is right. The system failed him. She tried to lock him away. She tried to put him in a mental institution, and they just would not put him in there. I mean, hell, after the 911 call that he made with him saying all that stuff, the court should have put him in a mental institution until he was proven well. Like, they should have not let him walk free. I feel so bad for Iryna, like, even in that footage, she just looked so terrified, and it's like, she didn't know she was about to lose her life. Okay, I'm about to start getting emotional. Iryna, she came to America looking for peace, safety, and opportunity. She was trying to live the American dream, and she was met with violence that should have been prevented. When we look at all of this, the victim, the suspect, the family calling for help, the warnings, the system gaps, you see a pattern, you do, and many alarms were raised, red flags were flying, and many attempts were made, yet no safety net held. This wasn't just a tragedy, but it was a systematic failure on every level, and I believe we can all agree on that, at least. Whether it's he should have stayed in jail, or he should have went to a mental institution, or hell, they should have listened to the family. What should change? Better access to long-term mental health treatment, especially when someone is released from prison and then showing signs of delusional behavior. I mean, that's one. Reform on bail and judicial release decision-making, like evaluating people's mental. More transparency and accountability. If someone's family is telling authorities they're dangerous, there must be a responsive system put in place for that. Like, I don't think nobody's family's gonna say you're dangerous unless you're absolutely dangerous. I mean, there's a few in between that would be pulling that crap, but overall, as a whole. Transit safety improvements. I mean, more monitoring, more cameras, presence of transit officers maybe, or an oversight to deter random violence. But I mean, there were security footage there that didn't deter him from doing that. Maybe if there was an officer in each thing, or like on each train, maybe. Who knows? Iryna's story is a tragedy, but maybe it's also a wake-up call for us. Because I mean, if we don't fix these pieces, more people, more innocent people could be at risk. Okay, so whenever I was researching this, the family didn't make a statement, but apparently last night or yesterday, they put one out. And the statement said, Iryna came here to find peace and safety, and instead her life was stolen from her in the most horrific way. No family should have to go through this. That's from her family. Decarlos' next court hearing is September 19th, and I'm not sure if this is to plead guilty or not guilty. I'm not sure. I couldn't find any information on what it's for. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Should the justice system have handled this differently? Was this preventable? I mean, I believe so. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.